Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. You're listening to Java with Jimmy.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Thankful Thursday, and today is Thursday, March 31st, 2022. It is the last day of Women's History Month, and it is also Trans Visibility Day. I do have my guest. He was not able to be with me live, and so I went yesterday and recorded with him. And so we're going to play that in just a couple of minutes, but wanted to go in this morning. I've had guests the past couple of days, so haven't been able to be as interactive with the Java family. We're going to do that real quick. Just a programming note that Quincy Roberts from the city of Boston will join us at about 9:30 as well. And so we're going to hear from Kamar in just a few moments. I'm going to share that video with you. And also, I need you guys to do me a favor. I've been up since early this morning. One of my sisters, she's in the Java Cafe almost daily. She's a Java family member by default, by blood. But my sister, Tamisha, is having a pretty serious surgery today. And so please keep my sister, Tamisha, her children, my mother, me, and all of us in prayer this morning. We solicit your prayers. She's under the knife, like as we speak, and it is an 8 to 10 hour surgery. And so we are definitely keeping and lifting Tamisha Hills in prayer. But wanted to go in and say good morning, Kelly. Good morning to you. Thank you for all of your work in getting the awards done over last weekend. Ma, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Nikki, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Lasagna, good morning. Good to see you in the room. And Sharon Cornelius, good to see you in the room. And also, who else do I see? Miss Tara Register Curry, the newlywed that is in the room. Good morning, Tara. Good to see you in the room. And also Auntie Java Conchetta Johnson is in the room. Pastor Marion, she wrote Marion yesterday. And I got to connect it. Yesterday was crazy. I left right after the show. I'll get you two connected. And who else? Darryl Drumright from Tennessee. Good to see you in the room as well. And also Sister Debbie, good morning. Good to see you in the room. And Linda, good morning. It was so good to see you on Saturday. So good to see you. So good to see you. And also, I think I got everybody. Rachel, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Isaiah, good to see you in the room. QuickTime Radio, Title Team DJs. I think I got it right. Good to see you. Good morning to you, Dina. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Dina Hold, April 23rd, reached out to the city. And we're going to have a We Need to Know 4 years later. Anybody and everybody in the city that has any and everything to do with violence, prevention, intervention, in the worst case scenarios, trauma response. I'm going to go ahead and get our video started with Kamar because Quincy is calling in. And so let me just get everything all set here. I think everything is going to work the way it should. Where are we at? Which screen went where? I think we are good. Hold on. Let me get this together. Okay, so this is supposed to be on full screen. I have this new computer, y'all, and sometimes it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Okay, there is the share screen. I may wind up doing it via video. Hold on. Let's close this. And we're going to do it via video because I think it'll just work better. All right, it is coming up, downloads, and there we go. Okay. Hey, everyone. So there's the video with Kamar. Kamar is a young man that I had the pleasure of knowing before transition, one of my former young people. And it is just so awesome to see him blossom through all that he has experienced to still work in the community and do the work that he's doing. And it was just so dope that he happened to be in red yesterday. And so, that stood out. So we're going to hear from Kamar for about the next 20 minutes or so, and listen in with a open heart, listen in with an open mind as well. And without further ado, my interview with Kamar Porter. And he used this quote. He said he's a man with trans experience. And so we're going to hear from him right now. And here we go. Everybody. So as you all know, Kamar, who I'm here with, who I'm so proud of, wasn't able to make it into the cafe live today. But as today is Trans Visibility Day, he was so flexible. We did have him sign in the computer his job was acting up. And so I rode up the street and we're on my laptop and we're with the old mic like we used to do back in the day. But shout out to Kamar because he got all the red on.
Yes,
What's going on? What's going on, bro?
How you doing, bro? Thank you so much.
Introduce yourself to the people. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And we're going to have a real frank conversation. He only has about 20 minutes because it's taken me about 20 minutes to get the old setup together. And we're in a car in Common Square. So introduce yourself, tell folks who you are, and then we'll go into your story and the wonderful work you're doing here at Common Square.
Yes, thank you, James. Appreciate it. My name is Kamar Porter. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I work currently at Common Square Health Center as a supervisor for the which is a service that provides services for LGBTQ folks. And that is also including services for transgender people. And we also have groups for trans folks, and we also have groups for their family. If anyone is all interested in that, probably
you went right into the work, and they ain't even told us about you yet. So you from Boston?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I've been to a few schools.
I remember Kamar. We met when Kamar, before transition, but Kamar, let's just say, was passionate when he had an opinion about something. Remember Angel Street?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
We'll say it like that. Oh,
yeah. I was definitely a troublesome child. Well, not when in my later years, because I grew up in the church, and growing up in the church, family of 4, and I was the oldest.
I was going to say, where'd you fall?
Oldest? Yeah, I was the eldest, and my mom. Well, I am the eldest. My mom, she passed away. But she was very, very strict on us going to church. Yep. We went to church.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Rehoboth.
Shout out to Rehoboth, Bethel. Gloria Porter, Sister Gloria.
Yes, Jesus. There's a legacy there.
Yeah, definitely. And so, growing up in the church, that's what I think got me disciplined in life, for the most part, and to learn more. And then when I started learning more about myself, some of the schools that I went to was I went to the Patrick O'Hearn, I was at the Franklin D. Roosevelt, I was at the Woodrow Wilson. In high school, I went to Hyde Park High. That didn't work out for me, and then I ended up going to City on the Hill.
Okay. Yeah. Very familiar.
Yes. So I'm Bostonian, a true Bostonian, and my experience in school before transitioning was definitely different, I think, than my experiences while transitioning and after transitioning. I didn't go to college.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
I'm still the youth worker.
Yes. And I started getting in some trouble when I started transitioning, because I was going through I guess an identity crisis. Yep. And not really knowing what was wrong with me, knowing I was like angry inside and not having an outlet. because my mom ain't let me do nothing but go to church, pray, and go to school. But after that, I just started learning more and more about myself. And once I started learning more and more about myself, then I found out who I was, and that's just a piece of my transition.
What does it mean to, because it one of the things I want to make sure, and this type of work, defund the police and Black Lives Matter, sayings and movements, almost, if we're not careful, they become cliches.
Yes.
And so Trans Visibility Day, what today is, even though we're pre-recording, what does that day mean to you based on what you said? And we're going to talk a little bit how you got on the road. We got about a good 15 minutes left because I want him to be on time for the work meeting. But what is Trans Visibility Day today in 2022 mean to you as a Black trans man? And first, let me say, and I'm learning, some in our community identify as just men, and then some identify as a trans man. What do you identify as? So I can be respectful, and you know what I'm saying? We had this conversation before, but I want to hear with the audience, because a lot of folks in the audience, some of the I got a lot of church mothers in here.
Okay.
And so, but one of the things that in the cafe is when this subject comes up, Quincy has been on. It's important that people understand just the human being and who you are as Kamar, beyond preference, transition, and whatever. So what does that mean to you as far as Trans Visibility Day? What does it mean to be visible?
So what that means to me is, it means a lot, actually, because a lot of people might say, well, trans people get this extra, or they get that extra. But the point of that is because we are marginalized. And sometimes when you're not visible, when people cast you out, or when people say, you don't count, you have to make your voice known, and you have to make your parents known, and you have to have that visibility, because if you're not, then everything is silent. And a lot of us know that being silent about something is violence.
I saw that in your statement, and we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah. And so to me, visibility is most important, especially when you're marginalized, for any marginalized group of people. Even when, like you just said, Black Lives Matter, when we had to speak up on these police killings, that they show us and make it seem like this is okay, and this is an everyday thing that happens, and this is what's supposed to happen. That starts to live there, and you start to feel like, well, is this what is supposed to happen? Am I supposed to be treated like this? And no, we are not. And so I would say being Trans Day of Visibility for me is definitely not being silent. Is being visible. Is being visible. Is being aware of, making people aware of, that transgender people exist, and we are just like just like everyone else. And you asked me a question and said, do I identify as men, trans men? I identify as both a man and trans men. I obviously, when someone asks me, are you transgender, if they ask me, which I never really get, or to speak on something like this, then I need to make that visibility, because it's important, because I could be sitting next to someone and they're having a conversation about trans folks and not knowing that I'm trans.
And how often does that?
Oh, that happens a lot. It happens a lot. They have conversations with me about trans people, and I'm like,
and not know.
And
so how do you break them down?
I just, I sit and I have a conversation with them, and I try to educate, what I mean? And I don't normally use myself as that piece of education. I normally use myself as a tool at that point, because they're gonna be like, well, coming from this person's standpoint, I never heard anyone say that, and this is just a point of education, without using myself as being that tool of, oh, well, I'm transgender too, because they might be thinking I'm just saying that because I'm transgender. It's just like if I was to, in the work and advocacy I do, you know, I don't have to have HIV to work with people that are living with HIV, and you know, things like that, and fight for the cause. You know, it's important to be visible about that stuff. It's important to be informed about that stuff, and it's important to have knowledge about that stuff. You know, and when you do, you know, it becomes a part. You realize how much stuff actually has a piece of you and a part of you, no matter if you're, you know, intersection with it or if it's just happening around
you. Yeah, and that's and there's more. I think that there's more, and I kind of like that we wound up doing this in the car because it's different, but more relaxed than being on camera.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of intersectionality where people don't know, and you know, some of the terms that we use in our community, passable and blah blah blah. One of the things I wanted to ask you about before we get into the work or back into the work, because you started with that, is Black Lives Matter. It began with originally, you know, folks calling out, Patrice and others calling out cis men that were being killed by police, and then either because of their orientation, but more importantly, I mean, I think their awareness that trans women were being killed as well, and a lot of Black trans women and by Black men.
Yes.
Is there the same sort of danger, or when you say trans, of course, and because of, and I'm being very careful, because appearing as a female in this society, you're a lot more preyed upon. But I don't want to assume that you're just quote unquote, you know, when I say straight, that you know, you're good, you're straight because you're a trans man. Are there some of those same difficulties in being a trans man where, and I know, you know, some people may ostracize or say ignorant, dumb, stupid, rude crap, but can you compare and contrast, and you're not a trans woman, but can you compare and contrast how society is in treating trans men versus what we know that has happened to a lot of trans women, specifically Black trans women?
Yes. And so I would say this. I would say this in this instance because it's different for a lot of us. However, my experience has been a lot of silence. You know, they want you to be silent
and don't speak up.
They don't want you to speak up. They don't want you to they don't like it's very much it's very much silence. They will take your voice away from you if they can. And if you take my voice away from me, then you take everything away from me, you know. And that's not okay, you know. It's not as bad, I don't think, as with what is going on with trans women, because we're not dying at high rates from cis men that are uncomfortable with who they are or who they are, you know, and how they sexualize trans women, because that is mainly one of the main problems and why trans women are being killed, because people question themselves, and because they don't know about themselves, and because they don't have enough education, and because, you know, they're
not authentic either.
Exactly, and they're not authentic, and that's not okay, because that is not that woman's problem. That is yours. You know, it is up to you to find out who you are as a person, as a Black man, you know, especially as a Black man. And, you know, and then that falls also on society, you know, and the struggles that they give us, you know, as Black people and Black individuals. But the thing is, we are Black first. And that's what I like to think of myself as, you know,
I say Black
first.
Gay male.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And there's a lot of transgender men that who go through ostracization and a lot of things like that because of how they identify. Not all of us are heterosexual trans identified men. Some of us are gay trans identified men. You know, our sexuality and our gender are two different things, and so that's, you know, there's a big difference. Some trans men are able to have children and do, you know, they actually have children themselves, you know what I mean? And so, and that's you know, that we are a big spectrum, if you want to think of it.
Okay.
And there's like nowhere that is a boxed in spectrum. And so that's the beauty of it, because because you can, it's the beauty of it because you get to experience individuals, what we all are, you know,
As
and how
human
we are.
beings.
Yes, human beings. And you get to learn about them individuals and those human beings. You know, a lot of people don't know a lot of things about me, even some of my friends, you know.
Yep.
I grew up in the church, but I grew up singing. I grew up singing in the choir, soprano, and lead
I was
singing.
getting ready to say, well, you grew up
Yeah.
singing soprano.
I grew up singing soprano. Yes.
Yes.
And I learned how to play the drums on my own. I learned how to play the keyboard. I started messing with the bass. I like to make beats. I'm into, you know, into those kind of things.
You might
Yes,
need a couple of
very.
tracks, but go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I even write music and stuff. I'm very much so into the music.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's why
I'm learning some stuff about Kumar that I didn't know. What,
yeah,
20 years ago?
Yeah, a lot of people
Jesus
didn't know that
Lord.
about me. But a lot of people, more people know I can sing more than they know a lot of other things because I was in the choir, in the church choir, and you know I was singing since I was 7 years old, and so I grew up in the church.
I'm sitting here smiling because even back in the day, I would have never known that you was a soprano singer.
Oh yeah, and that all changed too once I you know got on started taking testosterone and things like that. I thought it was gonna mess my voice up, but it didn't.
Did you keep the soprano?
Deepen my voice. I can still hit a falsetto in a high alto.
Now, if y'all in the choir and y'all are into music, y'all know what we talking about here. So we didn't mean to get that far off. But listen, we only got a couple of minutes because I want to respect. I want you to get back in the time so they don't mess with you.
Yes.
But today is Trans Visibility Day, and that's one day. Just like I think the sentiment that a lot of us had as a black man, as black folks, that this year, I don't know if you felt it, Black History Month didn't have all the hype. Oh. Like we were like, yo, this is 365, 24/7. Do you agree as a trans man that you appreciate the commemoration? I hope you appreciate that we're talking today and we're bringing attention to it on the show.
Absolutely.
But what is it that you would say about a day versus what you live 364, sometimes 364 other days a year?
Yeah.
Close out with that what you would like the community to know about the other 364.
Yes. So I appreciate this opportunity, especially James. We go way back. I love you for that, for just having me on here.
Yes.
And yes, 365 days out of the year, I am a man of trans experience. And that is
man of trans experience.
That is 365 days out of the year. And so I you know, before y'all brought it up and said, come on, the day of visibility is coming up. I didn't even listen. I really don't keep up with it because this is how I live every day. And I appreciate the visibility. I appreciate people reaching out, and I appreciate people wanting to know more and wanting to talk more. And you know, and that's up to us as a community to also, you know, to also make sure that, you know, while we are here, you know, while we are alive, that, you know, we are making history and that we are speaking up and that we're not being violent against ourselves with being silent or remaining silent, you know, just because someone may get something wrong or just because someone may have a question that they might need to find out. You know, we're not here to give a history lesson to people, but we are here to be a history, you know, and so
history.
Yes,
Go ahead.
and so we need to, you know, we definitely need to make sure that we're outspoken and that we are visible. And so every single day, you know, I hope to be visible, you know, on just who I am as a person, you know what I mean? And that happens to intersect with me being a man of trans experience. And, you know, and this is all beautiful, you know, that people in the church even wanting to know, you know, more about, because I grew up in the church, you know, and I love the church. And, you know, maybe we can have another.
I was going to say that's a whole nother
can of worms of what happened, and, you know, and how it affected me in my life, and you know what I mean, and how I feel about the church now and how I felt about the church before. You know, it's very deep, you know, and I would definitely love to come back on and
we'll get you. And you know what? Part of the team has been getting on me about doing stuff outside the studio anyway, and so maybe we'll come back. I'll bring the other camera. Y'all should see what I put together here.
He was a magician.
Listen, we got the laptop on the steering wheel. Anyway, you got to get back to work, and I don't want you to be late.
Yes.
But I really appreciate you. I need y'all to remember the date of June 20. I told y'all June was busy. Yes. June 24th. What's going down?
June 24th, we are having a ball. I'm gonna have my first
That's a whole
ball
Zoom
here.
in itself to tell folks about the balls.
Ballroom. Yes.
Can I walk straight for you?
You can definitely
walk.
There's a realness. There's a whole bunch of realness categories. Executive realness. You can walk any kind of realness you want to walk. Yes, you definitely can. It's gonna be a ball June 24th. The place of venue is to still be announced. If you all want to contact me about that, you can email me at kamar.porter@carmen.org, and I will respond to folks, either if you need services here at Carmen, or if you want to know more information about the ball that's happening.
Go ahead.
No, that's not right. Well, if you want to know a little bit more about the ball that's happening, on the 24th, it's going to be really, really big. It's going to be major thing.
Snatch them trophies.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm ready to walk yet, but I might. I might.
That's fine. You could be a spectator. You might end up walking best dressed or something like that. The theme is going to be Bel Air though. So I got a nice theme going on. It's a nice Bel Air theme going on.
I'll just leave that right there. I'm going to behave. Yo, bro, I appreciate you.
Yes, I love you, my brother.
I need them. He got on. You know what? I'm not going to let y'all see the setup, but he got on some red and black Nikes. I'm more with the 3 stripes, but I would rock. Where you get them?
I got these. Where did I get these?
What's your sneaker collection?
Foot Action. Oh, I got a pretty big sneaker.
You see how he got excited? I said, listen, you got to get in here. But I wanted folks to also see just a little bit of downtime of who you are, Kamar.
Yes.
When I tell you, bro, I appreciate you. And again, because of our relationship pre-transition, and to see that you've made it, because we didn't get into the mental health. Mm-hmm. We didn't get into the turmoil of dealing with it. Let's talk about the thing that we deal with. Am I automatically going to hell?
Yes, that part.
That part.
That one.
So to see you in this light and shining and advocating for others, when I tell you I am, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I am godly proud. I'm Jamesly proud. I'm just proud to see you as a Black man out here making a difference in our community despite whatever. And I love how you framed it as a man with trans experience. Yes. Like, yo, that all right, you're gonna get me started.
Yes, love you about to make me proud, brother.
Getting it, no, getting it. We got each other's number. Yo, there will be more from Kamar.
Yes.
And yeah, I'll talk to y'all in a couple of minutes.
All right. Peace and love, y'all.
Hey everybody, I am back here sitting proud. I don't know if someone texted me and said you could see the love exuding out of you. I saw Quincy in the background. Props to saying what's up to you, Q. First of all, you're not a stranger to the Java Cafe, so I have formality before you get into all the love. And I see you there taking notes, Jesus. And so say good morning. Tell the folks who you are who may not know who you are, and then we'll go from there.
Good morning, Boston and surrounding areas. I am Quincy J. Roberts Sr., and I am currently the LGBTQ plus liaison citywide.
Director?
Actually, no, not the director. Actually, I'm the final LGBTQ plus liaison for the city of Boston, because everyone has heard the great news and all the work that people like Kamar and myself have put forward over the years. We're getting that department. Jimmy has spoken into it in existence, so we are super excited about that. But that's not why I'm here. Not today. But I am here to celebrate International Transgender Day of Visibility, because that's the correct title. There are many different days that bring awareness to the trans experience, but today is the international. So this is a worldwide thing going on. So I'm excited to be here. We have a ton of events today that I have to attend, but when James Hill calls, I have to answer. But I'm a big fan of Kamar. I've known Kamar actually longer than I've known my husband. So over 15 years, I've known Kamar Porter. And he has taught me so much in the last 15 years. So I'm just proud to see him continuing to do his thing and just educate folks, because this is a conversation that, and I saw in the comments, we need to have a separate conversation about the church and homophobia and transphobia, because I too am a church boy, Southern Baptist here. So
Yes, sir.
so
And
thank you for having me.
absolutely, man. So a lot of this could not be done. And though, the mayor, I'm sure, and convinced that this was something that she wanted to do, let's just name it, would have not been that easy for her to do without the foundation, not just you. And you give wonderful credence and homage to those before you. And we've had, at least I can remember, as far as going back with Mayor Menino, we've had the liaisons formally and informally. And so, you may be the last liaison, but, we want to make sure that you are the first director of that department, because it just, so anyway, getting back to Kamar, it was a wonderful, wonderful interview. You know that I am so proud of him, because knowing him as a teen, and to see now, and he kind of talked about it a little bit, and I tried to frame it in a manner that wasn't negative, but Kamar, would have a nice way of getting you told. And so just to see him, I really yesterday was just, I was just so proud. And it, for me, it's the purpose of having him come was to talk about the theme of the day, but just as a person, as a man, as a black man, just to see the accomplishments and everything that he's made through all that he's been through. We didn't really get into a lot, of his full story. So, but I thought it was so important, Quincy, to have you come in. The city is acknowledging it. There's some events going on for youth at the State House today as well. And so where are we with, there's, a transition from the liaison to the department. What is your outlook? Shout out to the chief, Mary Angeli, of equity. And I always mess it up, and Tasha White's probably going to kill me because I can't mess up the name of her cabinet that she's the chief of staff of, but
Equity and inclusion.
Equity and inclusion. Okay. Shout out to her for that. And so what is your hope? What is your desire now having that department? Have we found out if it's going to be staffed or budgeted? And I know, that you're not here in particularly that role, but where are we, where with what you can update the general community and our community as well?
Got it. Briefly, before we get into why I'm really here, but absolutely, the office has been established by the mayor. Shout out to Chief, shout out to Natasha, Chief of Staff, for the Equity and Inclusion Cabinet that this office will sit under. Great allies, as well as just supporters, big supporters of this mission. As of right now, of course, it's a search for staff. I believe it's going to be 2 to 3 staff as of right now. Don't quote me on that, but it will be staffed this calendar year with more than one person. And that was the original goal for me 2 years ago when I saw the former liaison and how much help and support that individual needed. So the vision is here. I just wanted to get to the department. So now a new goal is being set, a new vision. And what I want to see is more things like what you did yesterday. I want people to be able to ask tough questions. I want people to be able to have these difficult conversations, because the reason why I brought up the amount of time that I've known Kamar and people like Tisha Purdy and Candace Nugent, I bring them up and I bring them in this space because 15 years ago, I was just as ignorant as anyone else when it came to the trans experience, because I was struggling with my own sexuality at the time. So I didn't even have room to learn about anyone else's experiences, because I was trying to have my own black gay male experience.
Yes, sir.
So my hope and my dream is for folks to continue to have these difficult conversations. And as you said, you just lean in with love and understanding, because we all have questions about uh, others, people who are not the status quo. People ask me a lot of questions. However, I just want to encourage people, when you ask those questions, be very respectful. Be very respectful. So I'll stop there for the department. And then let's try to get into what today is about, because I
Yes, sir.
really want people to understand that these awareness days, these visibility days, they are super important. And I think you brought up Black History Month. Same thing. It's a day. However, we want you to have these conversations 365, because as Kamar said so very well, he's a trans man, or a man of trans experience, 365 days of the year. So, so please ask questions with respect.
I appreciate that, and I couldn't be my authentic self without just getting sort of that update of what's going on, because in this time of equity and awareness days and whatnot, as you said, the work of this needs to be done another 364 days, and having people that have committed their career, in a sense, their life to doing that should definitely be something that's strongly considered when the decision is being made. I'm not going to move away from it,
Yeah,
but Quincy, I really appreciate you coming, and I
yeah,
appreciate your authenticity, because there are other people that are on the road. Let's just keep it 100, that even within our community, there's still some transphobia. There's still, and Props and I have talked often, because there's sort of the sentiment that, one voice, but even within our community, there's marginalized groups. And then to hear Kamar mention yesterday that even within the trans man community, there's continued subsets. You know what I'm saying? So it is a learning experience. We're both on the road. You're a little, probably you and Curtis, he's in the room,
yeah.
a little further than me, but I
Shout out to
need
Curtis Santos.
absolutely to Blue. And I did talk to Curtis, and we're gonna let you guys know, so that, how can I say this, Quincy, so that entities who are operated and capitalize off of our dollars. We're going to have a black owned Blue, that's Boston's lesbian urban. He's going to get me Boston's lesbian and gay urban. Curtis is going to get me.
Curtis, put it in the chat, bro.
Put it in the chat,
Keep
brother. But
butchering your name.
we're going to have a t-shirt curated by Java with Jimmy, but a portion of the proceeds is going to go to Blue. And so we are absolutely, and we're meeting tomorrow to firm up some stuff. But the work has to be done 365 days a year. And I got on that to highlight you and Curtis. You and Curtis have been very instrumental, and also Donnie have been very instrumental in getting me on a road of advocacy around the issues within our community. So I have to raise that and celebrate both of you with that. Anything else you want to leave with us?
Yes. I appreciate the shout out. And I just want to let people know, especially our straight allies and brothers and sisters who just really want to know more about our community. Um, One, I want to get rid of the word lifestyle while I have a chance. Like, is not a lifestyle. The way I am is not a lifestyle. It's my life. So if we can just change that word choice, or work on changing that for my straight brothers and sisters, because you don't live a straight lifestyle. Lifestyles are like wearing flashy clothes and Jordans and driving Mercedes. Those are lifestyles. All right. So let's get rid of that word. And I also want to bring into this space the Trans Emergency Fund. Ran by Chastity Bowick, who's doing amazing advocacy and activism. And the reason why I bring him up, because for the last 3 years, in a racial pandemic as well as a global pandemic, the rates of fatalities amongst transgender individuals have risen. 2020 was 44, the beginning of the pandemic, 44 fatalities in this country. Just last year, 57. So the numbers are rising. So it's not getting better, it's getting worse. So I just want to bring that into the space and elevate that topic, because no one's talking about it. And when you hear Chastity Bowick speak and Kamar Porter and Tisha Purdy speak, this is what they're talking about. It is very dangerous for them to be themselves. So no one else walks out this out the door and have to deal with racism and transphobia and homophobia. So it's a lot of phobias and isms that the individuals that we just shouted out have to deal with. So I just want to lift them up in this space. And if you are religious or you're praying, meditation, keep us in your prayers and meditation because this work is dangerous. I laugh it off, but I get death threats all the time via social media, all types of things. And I just want to make sure that people know this is not a game. This is not a joke. Um, it's very difficult and hard work that we are doing. So thank you again, Jimmy, for lifting us up in this space. Please continue to have these conversations. However, I don't want us preaching to the choir. I want to talk to those people that really have an issue, really have whatever that issue may be. I'm willing to talk to anyone that hates me, loves me, or anything in between. So let's have these conversations and be bold, Boston. Thank you.
Let's just put a little bit because I have to ask you a serious question. Prop said,
Mm.
"Come on back to the AQ. I'll give you a little piece of information or whatever." But Props is in here messing. So let's go to Thaddeus's question, and I'm comfortable asking you this on the spot because I know you used to work with seniors. And so what?
Mhm.
So Thaddeus is down in Virginia, and first of all, shout out to Mother who's doing well. Mother, we've been praying for you. And so if you can hear this, it is so awesome
Shout out
to
to
know
VA too.
that you are in the background listening, and the mothers in here have been praying for you as Thaddeus has been keeping us updated. And so Thaddeus is asking this question. There is an education that may need to be done with elders as well. And I think you and I can understand and appreciate some of the old school folks. Though there needs to be education, I would want to believe that there's less hate and negative. It's just that some of our older folks, they just, you
Yeah.
know, to them, it's kind of like black and white. They don't understand because just of the times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so what advice would you share with Thaddeus as well?
Yeah.
And Mother, I will say that Thaddeus is one of the most supportive people
Supportive
in
people that
this
I was.
space, and we really and largely, Mother, because you raised him to be so, and so he looks beyond um preference. He looks beyond our life, Quincy, and sees the humanity within people. And Mother, that has a, he told us on Saturday that comes from you. And so I'm sorry, didn't mean to get
Uh,
too far off there,
Absolutely. We
but
need more people like Thaddeus Miles in this world for several reasons. But sticking to this topic, Mother Miles, we're praying for you and we honor this question. The best way for me to answer this question, the way I was raised, it wasn't cool to be a part of conversations like this or even interact with the gays in the choir.
yeah.
We had to avoid them. Even singing in the choir, we couldn't talk to them, or we would be labeled as being gay. And over time, I learned that like I missed out on a lot. I missed out a lot on my life because I was living up to someone else's expectations. So I guess to answer your question, Thaddeus and Mama Miles, is we definitely have to come to these conversations if we're not a part of the community because that's the way we're going to learn. It's I'll just make the comparison of race. If we want black white people to see us more than aggressive and whatever labels that white supremacy has put on us over the years, we have to engage with white people. We can't just talk to black folks and people of color because then again, we are preaching to the choir. So having conversations like this and inviting the people that may have issues with trans individuals or gay individuals. Another thing I have, and people who are watching this know, most of my friends are straight men, like whatever society thinks is a man, they are that. And they are very straight. And people like Thaddeus and Conan and people like that, they are so stuck in their manhood, they don't feel threatened by me. They don't feel threatened by a gay person. So that's why I say we need more people like Thaddeus Miles and Conan Harris that can rock with us, support us unapologetically. Because people always say, what's the definition of a man? My definition of a man has nothing to do with sexuality or anything like that. It's integrity. And those two individuals have integrity. That's all I got for you. I do have to run over to the State House. I do
Okay.
want to give a quick shout out to my man Craig Martin, who is the co-chair of the Massachusetts Commission on LGBT Youth. That's why we're going to the State House, to just support our trans youth and their parents, because I'm going to leave you with this. Parents have an important part to making sure that their child gets from A to Z, even if their sexuality is not in line with how you thought it should be. All right. So parents, if you have queer children, love on them even more, because they need you more than ever. This is a cruel, cruel world. And again, this work is not easy. So again, shout out to Java with Jimmy, shout out to Thaddeus Miles, and every props and everyone else who just really supports us. And shout out to Mama. We still praying for you.
Yes, and she said she's open to learning a lot. Learning at her. I hope she didn't say that. I mean, I hope Thaddeus didn't say that and she said that. But mother, that is wonderful. Quincy, go ahead and get over. I'm going to go pay some bills. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the connections, and we'll follow up.
Anytime, bro.
Yes, sir. It was definitely awesome having Quincy here to follow up after Kamar's interview. Thank all of you that tuned in today. I have a 10 o'clock as well I need to get on. Pastor Mary and I grew up with an uncle who grew up in the church but was gay. My family loved him, not separating him through heat late in his life. Gave his heart to the Lord. Probably a typo there, mother, but what I got from that was that you loved him, and later on gave his life to the Lord. There is a lot there. This thing is so multifaceted, and often I realize that some of my experiences in life had to happen, and Bishop used to preach, it had to happen and happen that way in order to be able to understand, liaise, and be that bridge. Because at the end of the day, folks that are dealing with, hear me out, from an evangelical, Christian, evangelizing point of view, if folks are going through a whole bunch of stuff, they can't hear the gospel. And so if they're being downtrodden and from a mental health standpoint, and expressing themselves, and they've talked about sexuality is different from their gender identification. The reason I am so comfortable in going down this road, so our community as a whole understands there is a mental health impact that goes on within this community, that the numbers and rates of those that are committing suicide in young people, and the humanity beyond how they dress, gender wise, in their sexuality. For me, it goes beyond that, into seeing the humanity. And for our evangelical Christian folks that are trying to get folks to Jesus, see the soul. With that being said, Pastor Marion wrapped it up right there. Pastor Heidi, you are a bridge. You're doing exactly what you wanted them. I'm not messing with you today, Heidi Ivy. So with that being said, everyone, today is Thursday. I will see you guys on Monday. I don't have anything else this weekend. I probably will wind up going live from the Secret Society of Creatives event on Saturday. And otherwise, I will see you on Monday at 9 a.m. with Dr. Brandy for Mental Health Mondays next week. On Tuesday, we have Dr. Ronke from Massachusetts General Hospital. On Wednesday, we have Eugene Schneeberg, or Arthur, that used to work in the White House for President Obama around fathering. And then on Thursday, the 7th, we have Yahaira Lopez and Domingo de Rosas, who's coming back and give us an update on what's going on with Methadone Mile. And then the week after that, we have some folks coming, and also please hold the date of February 27th. We will be launching the first monthly We Need to Know Wednesdays with Woo. Or maybe I'll change it to Woo Need to Know Wednesdays or something like that. But we are the mayor has committed to coming into the Java Cafe once a month to check in with the community. And so that'll begin on April 27th. There's a whole bunch coming down, and we're percolating around. Did I say February? I didn't mean to say February. April 27th. Thank you, props. April 27th, 9 a.m. The mayor will be with us. Yes, April 20. Wow. I went back a couple of months. April 27th, guys. Thank you all so much. The mayor will be with us. And then I have a couple of things coming up for Black Music Month. We're going to be at the African American Museum on Joy Street. And we're going to have a concert on June 12th, leading into the week of Juneteenth. There'll be a special Sunday Java. Keys, ain't nobody messing with you. No, I have not had breakfast. And I got at 10 o'clock, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it. I'm getting off of here. You all have a wonderful weekend. I really love and appreciate you. I really did not have an opportunity to really talk about last Saturday. And so I plan to do that one day. I got guests all next week. I'll figure out a way to do that, to just really thank everybody that hold on for 1 second, sir. I just really want to thank everybody that came out and supported and bought merch and cups and hoodies. We only have 2 hoodies left. We only have 3 candles left, and only have out of 50 mugs, maybe about 25 mugs left. So thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. And I got to get on this call. And so we'll see you Monday at 9 a.m. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace.